This is WBSM On Demand.
Good morning. Good morning. Great to be back after a lovely weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. The Patriots didn't play, so there was nothing to ruin it, right? A lot of good football this weekend. I hope you had the opportunity to enjoy it. And there's a lot of interesting stories, okay? First off, and I don't think it's going to be a big story, but I do want to give Barry Richard credit for breaking a story that Ian Abreu is attempting to be the town manager in Fairhaven. Now, Ian Abreu, of course, is a longtime New Bedford City Councilor. We've heard about this for a while. I appreciate that Barry broke the story. You can read it at WBSM.com. I put it up on Facebook as well. Hey, I think a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that both Joe Lopes and Ian Abreu were at least seriously considering applying to be the town manager. Joe Lopes is the Ward 5 city councilor, previously the Ward 6 city councilor, and Ian Abreu is elected citywide. Well, we need a town administrator, right? Although I happen to think Charlie Murphy's doing a pretty good job in that position. Now, I don't know that Charlie wants to stay or even that that's an option. You know, he's got Mo life and he's pretty busy. But taking Ian out of it, does Fairhaven want to have a neighboring elected official overseeing our budget, our licenses, running the town? I would say we don't. Now, again, let's put Ian to the side because it looks like he's a finalist, and I don't want to make it about Ian Abreu because it's about the town of Fairhaven. Ultimately, it'll be about Ian Abreu. If he goes forward with it, right? My feeling is that both Abreu and Lopes know they're not going to get the job. They're just applying the way, my dad explained to me years ago that, and I've had this conversation with other people about superintendents, that school superintendents sometimes start applying for jobs even though they know they're not going to get the job, but it lets them interview and answer questions and tighten up their resume. So it's more of a practice round for them, because I can't believe that a majority of the Board of Selectmen would think it's not a conflict to hire an elected official from a neighboring community and not think that's not going to screw things up. I mean, I don't see anywhere where Abreu is going to resign from the New Bedford City Council. He's worked his whole adult life to be a city councilor. Why would he give it up? I mean, he's got two other businesses, so he's a busy guy. Like I said, it's not really about Ian Abreu, not at this point, but it's about the town of Fairhaven. If we don't want politics in the administration of the town, which is why they brought in the town administrator, I believe, why would you hire a politician to run the town? In other words, It was considered a step forward to remove the Board of Selectmen, in a lot of people's minds anyway, town meeting, from the day-to-day operations and the politics of it, right? And you bring in a professional to run the town. So why would you look to a neighboring politician if you want to remove politics from the town, right? I mean, Ian Abreu, any city council, look, I've followed the city council for decades now. I've had friends in there. I think I still have friends in there. You never know, but I cover it for the media, for you. The city council in New Bedford has very little authority. Dennis Farias does most stuff down there, really. The day-to-day stuff. And his staff, don't get me wrong. The other people that work in the clerk's office, they do all the day-to-day stuff. You have 11 city councilors. All they do is politics. So whatever lessons have been learned by a politician, particularly a city councilor, are just political. They don't really have day-to-day operational experience running the town. And look at the budget in New Bedford. I live here in Fairhaven. I pay taxes in Fairhaven. It's fun to cover the city council from a media perspective because it's a circus. But I don't want that over here, right? I don't want that stuff here. Anyway, again, it's not to do with Ian Abreu so much as it is to do with the town of Fairhaven. 508-9960. We got some people calling. I've got 2 open phone lines, though. Oh, what happened to that guy? Anyway. Folks, it is the holiday season here at WBSM. The United Way of Greater New Bedford is looking to make a mini miracle happen for a 7-month-old, Scarlett, and her mom, Megan. Scarlett was born with a cleft palate, which makes it hard for her to eat without choking. And her mother has to work around the clock to feed her, special formula, special bottles. And she's available to get a life-changing surgery, but she has to gain more weight. So we can really change a lot of lives here. For a New Bedford family with a donation to our Mini Miracle program, no amount is too small or too big. Find out how to donate by clicking on Mini Miracle at the top of WBSM.com or the WBSM app. Let's make a Mini Miracle happen for little Scarlett, right? Mini Miracle on WBSM is brought to you by Sousa Family Orthodontics, First Citizens Federal Credit Union, BOCCA, Cask and Pig Kitchen and Ale House, Fall River Municipal Credit Union, Leach Garage and Auto Body. And I want to tell you, South Coast Towing, Chris Medeiros, and his brother-in-law and his beautiful sister, right, Sandy Douglas, they reached out to me over the weekend. They're going to help this family out big time. And I sent the United Way information on. They reached out to me over the weekend, and I sent the information on to them. So I know Chris Medeiros and Sandy and Paul Douglas are going to help this family out tremendously. So what I'm saying is that it's good money going into good projects, right? So if you want to throw just a couple of bucks, it's all going to add up, and we're going to make a real change here for a New Bedford family that's having a major crisis. And we can do something about it, right? Folks, there's very few problems that money can't solve. And if you got one, well, you better get the rosaries out, right? Crack the Bible if you've got a problem that money can't solve. Anyway, I'll take a break. I'm Chris McCarthy. We'll be right back. It's kind of open phones, but Barry Richard has a story at WBSM.com that the Board of Selectmen in Fairhaven is seriously considering hiring Ian Abreu to be the town administrator. Does that make good sense? Not for Abreu. That's a great deal for Abreu. But does it make sense for the town of Fairhaven to hiring a neighboring politician to run the day-to-day affairs? I don't think it does, but that's just me. I'm only a taxpayer. 508-996-05. Stick around. We'll be right back. I'm Chris McCarthy, and you're the audience. 508-996-0500. Kind of open phones this morning. Did anybody see that storm? How could you have missed it? If you listen to WBSM, Howie was having a lot of fun with the story of the city councilor who was indicted in Boston. Let me stress, in Boston, right? Let me get that down. She was a Boston city councilor that was indicted. Boston city councilor that was indicted. So that's interesting, right? Because the Boston Globe has a story. There's nothing they can do about it. Folks, John Mitchell, we're moving back to New Bedford now here, right? John Mitchell, last January, we can almost say, actually, he started working on it a year ago. He submitted it in January. A recall petition for all elected officials in the city of New Bedford. Now, you've got a 4-year mayor, 2-year city council, you've got assessors, you've got school committee members. All of them would be subject to the recall, except that the New Bedford City Council has killed it. After all the work the mayor's office and the legal team over there has put into it, not to mention a couple of evenings of discussion, they've killed off the recall petition, thereby preserving their jobs. See, they get a 2-year no-cut contract, and the mayor gets a 4-year no-cut contract, no matter what they do. And the mayor, to his credit, says this isn't right. We've got to have a mechanism for the taxpayers, the citizens, to unwind elections if there is some great deal of malfeasance. Now, what's interesting is that we're seeing it play out in real time in Boston. A city council has been indicted up there, and she says, I ain't leaving. I make good money. This is where I get my health insurance, and I'm not leaving. Now, I think you'd have that same reaction from a New Bedford city councilor if they were indicted. They'd say, I'm not leaving. This is where I get my health insurance. $25,000 a year is like being a millionaire in New Bedford. I'm joking, it's not. But when you compare it to making $100,000 in Boston, which is what those city councils make, $25,000 isn't bad to be one of 11 with no day-to-day responsibilities in the city of New Bedford. So the city of New Bedford, the city council, killed off the recall. So you have no means, taxpayers of New Bedford, to get somebody out if, God forbid, they were indicted. Now, as the mayor and I have mused, mostly me, he's rather stoic when I bring it up, but what do they know that we don't know? Because I want to make sure I get her name right. City Councilor Tania Fernandez Anderson, Democrat. Tania, she had a secret. Sounds like her colleagues didn't know. They're usually the last to know, right? Well, what secrets do individual members of the New Bedford City Council have that they're keeping from their colleagues that made them kill off the recall petition? Folks, that is a question the people of New Bedford have to ask themselves. Is it because they knew they were going to make Shane Burgo, leader of the Shane Denistas, the next city council president, and they realized there'll be a major backlash? So Shane and Maria and Ian Abreu killed off the recall petition. Is that to protect their jobs, their pensions, their health insurance? When they make a really outrageous decision, such as elevating Shane Burgo to be the leader of the city council? Or is there something else they're hiding? What else do they hide, even from each other? Because certainly some members of the city council were very concerned with the recall petition. But folks, New Bedford could do what they want to do. They elect them to be their rulers. I just wonder if it's a good idea to bring one of them over here to Fairhaven, right? I think they learn a lot about politics on the New Bedford City Council. I don't know that they learn a lot but politics. They get the lingo, they get the day-to-day vocabulary of running government, which makes it easy to talk about it. But the mayor of New Bedford and his staff really run the city of New Bedford. That is why Mayor of New Bedford, a former federal prosecutor who has seen public officials indicted, he knows they need a way. You, the taxpayers, need a way to correct malfeasance by the voters. Should new information come to light about your very popular elected officials, right? So the Boston Globe took a walk down memory lane and talked about the last Boston City Council to get indicted by the federal government. Chuck Turner. Chuck Turner, coincidentally, also represented the same district, the same voters who elected the latest indicted city councilor, Tania Fernandez Anderson. So, what happened? Well, the Boston City Council didn't have an ordinance to do anything about it. So, they voted to expel Chuck Turner, otherwise known as Superfly by Howie Carr. Howie Carr called the late Chuck Turner Chuck Superfly Turner. And Chuck Turner was caught taking a bribe. But while he was indicted, the city council expelled him because they didn't have a recall or any other way to deal with a city councilor that's been indicted. So they voted to expel Chuck Turner. What did Chuck Turner do? And this is according to the Boston Globe. I had forgotten this part. He turned around and sued the very taxpayers who had elected him. And the city of Boston was forced to settle after an extensive legal battle that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Chuck Turner walked away with, I think, $100,000. So is that what the New Bedford City Council has in mind for you, the taxpayers? That, hey, if we don't have a rule and one of us gets indicted, they can't kick us out. And if they do, we'll just sue like Chuck Turner did, and we'll get a six-figure payout, not to mention all the legal costs. So, folks, Mayor John Mitchell, drawing on his vast experience as a federal prosecutor and a taxpayer, don't forget that, John Mitchell and his family pay taxes every year to the city of New Bedford. It's his home. Drawing on his extensive experience as a federal prosecutor and his local knowledge. Local knowledge, that's important here, folks. He drafted a very carefully worded, structured opportunity for the city council to place protections in the city charter for the city taxpayers to recall a mayor, city council member, school committee member, assessor, for any reason that met the very high standards. Well, the New Bedford City Council has killed that off. Ryan Pereira, Ian Abreu, Shane Burgo, Brian Gomes. Don't forget Maria Giesta, asleep at the switch. Maria Siesta. They killed that off. So it's instructive for the taxpayers and the voters of New Bedford and the callers to this program at 508-996-0500 to think about that. Think about it in context of the Boston taxpayers. Right now, have a city councilor under indictment by the federal government for bribery, still making decisions, still collecting a paycheck and health insurance. Think about that. How would you like that to happen to you? Because it very well could, right? Tania, whatever her name is, the indicted city councilor. We'll just call her the indicted, right? The indicted. She was keeping secrets from her colleagues, right? What secrets are the New Bedford City Council members keeping from their colleagues, from the media, from the taxpayers? Why are they so aggressive in killing off the recall? It's crazy. It really is. 508-996-0500. That's how you can get on the program. It is very cold out there, folks. We're going to get some rain coming up. It's likely to not be snow, but today's day and age, with the cold weather we're having, right? And we're going to have that for a couple more months. It's very dangerous to have a crack in your windshield, any glass on your automobile. So I want you to get it repaired. It's the right thing to do. It's very cost effective. It's very easy. If you reach out to Citywide Glass, 2 locations, Fall River and Dartmouth, or you can go right on the website, citywideglass.net, to make an appointment. Call them to make an appointment in Dartmouth or Fall River. They'll send a mobile tech team right out to your house, to your apartment, to your work, and they'll fix your glass. They'll bill your insurance company. All insurance is accepted, so it won't cost you anything. So they'll fix any glass on you. They'll fix your windshield, mirrors, door windows, side windows, right? Sunroof, truck sliders. All insurance is accepted. Call Citywide Glass. It's not safe to have a cracked windshield or any cracks on your glass on your automobile this time of the year. So fix it for your car, your family's cars. Citywide Glass. Take a break. We'll be right back. So, talking about the situation in Boston with the Boston City Councilor being indicted by the federal government. There's a lot to the story. There really is. Howie Carr has got a great column over the weekend. I'm sure you can see it at the HowieCarrShow.com website. And he was having a lot of fun with it. I like Howie Carr a lot. I talk to him regularly, actually. This is one of his biggest markets. The WBSM audience, and Howie's all over Massachusetts, all over the country. But one of his most successful markets is the Greater New Bedford area, WBSM. It's just, I don't know, just inside baseball stuff, but he really pays attention to what's going on around here. For what it's worth. Anyway, so Boston City Council has a member that's been indicted. That city councilor was keeping a lot of secrets, right, from their colleagues, certainly from their constituents. So you have to ask yourself, what is bothering the New Bedford city councilors as individuals about their own behavior? I mean, Tania knew what she was doing before her colleagues. Do you think she would have voted for a recall? Or do you think she would have stonewalled it and killed it? Well, I think Tania, who likes the salary and the health insurance and the pension, much like the New Bedford City Council, would have probably killed it. Chuck Turner, the last Boston City Councilor to get indicted, the Boston City Council expelled him. He turned around and sued the taxpayers of Boston. It cost them millions of dollars. Chuck got around $100,000, more than that for his lawyers and himself, really, because they had nothing on the books. So John Mitchell, a former federal prosecutor, drawing on his vast experience as a federal prosecutor, not to mention his significant knowledge of New Bedford politics, has drafted a very reasonable recall petition that covers both him and the city council and the assessors and the school committee. And the New Bedford City Council has killed it off. 508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, my friend.
You tell me what's going on.
What's going on? I think the city council is going to try to change the mayor's term back to 2 years. Make him more responsible to the people, And I think they realize that that's the best way to go, because what they're doing now, it's not good. Could you imagine right now, and I know John Mitchell, this would never happen with him. Imagine if he was indicted right now.
No, I agree with you. Let's just talk about, because what makes it so easy for them to kill it is the fact that you have John Mitchell there. So it's not anywhere near a possibility. But can you imagine if the sitting mayor of New Bedford with a 4-year term was indicted?
2-year term's the answer. The other thing, too, is John Mitchell with the ARPA funds and the Community Preservation Act. The greatest good wasn't done for the greatest number of people. No help with the taxes, no help with the water bills, And then I've watched the city council on TV when I can get them on TV. And when you ask the representatives for the mayor that go down to talk to the city council about where the money is, it's over here. No, it's over here. No, it's over there. He's moving the money all around. They don't know where the money is. Oh, we do have ARPA money. Oh, we don't have ARPA money. Oh, we do have community preservation. We don't have Community Preservation Act money. So the act of the mayor is got to go. I'm sorry. To me, I've had enough of John Mitchell. I've had enough. I don't care how smart you say he is or Harvard educated. You need to have rotation in office. You need to have somebody new there, some new ideas, especially since the greatest good wasn't done for the greatest number of people with the ARPA money. No help with the taxes, no help with the water that has to be done. Maybe the mayor will still find the money someplace because, it's over here, it's over there. It's allocated. It's they use different words, different lawyers speak as to where the money is. It's time for someone new and some new turn the page, as Harris would say. Thank you for your. You're laughing there or what?
Well, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, you're the only person I think who's going to ever quote Kamala Harris again. Certainly, John Mitchell won't.
No. She was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Unfortunately, in other words, Joe Biden got sick, got a little senile, and so that she was the alternative that was left. Unfortunately. If Biden would have got out early, well, then they could have had a real convention and things would have gone okay. Hey, here's another thing I read, and I don't know how true this one is. I went to oversee a friend of mine over in Dartmouth, okay? And my age too, an old gentleman and everything. He said, gee, I went to pay my water bill today, and they told me that I don't know any money. He said, what do you mean? Well, actually, it's been paid. I said, how has it been paid? He said to me, well, they told me the Dartmouth Town Hall was paid through PACE. So maybe we can get some help in New Bedford, too, by having PACE that's used for your heat, pay for your water bill, since the
listen, thank you for the call, my friend. I don't know anything about that, so I don't want to put that out. He didn't seem too sure of it either. PACE does great work over there. Pam Keechler, Fairhaven resident. Does a great job, and all the people over there do a great job. But I don't know, and he didn't seem very sure of it. So I don't want to put that out and have them overwhelmed with phone calls. I just don't know. That could be a very unique situation for Dartmouth. I don't know. 508-996-0500. So I'm just saying, if you live in the city of New Bedford, you don't have a recall petition, the ability to do it, because the New Bedford City Council killed it off. And I think it's an egregious situation. All you have to do is look to the capital city, Boston, to see what they're going through right now, to see how irresponsible the city councils were, how greedy and selfish they were, really. Greedy and selfish. They got their job, and there's no way you could take it from them. They don't want to lose their pensions, their health benefits. For some of them, it's the only paycheck they get, right? For some of them, it's the only paycheck they get. Now, most of them, that's not the case. But for some of them, it's the only paycheck they have. They don't want to let you, the taxpayer, off the hook. Should they be indicted for something, right? Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
Not bad. How are you, my friend?
Hey, too early to tell. The day's still young. You had a previous caller talked about, the mayor's been there too long. But that's how I feel about, the city council. They, like the gentleman said, the stale ideas. Well, the city council, stale ideas, some of them been there for 20 years. They got to go. And as far as the recall thing, maybe what the next step the mayor should consider doing is putting it a vote to the people.
Yes. I'm not sure if he needs a city council for that. Just off the top of my head, I don't know. I know the city council can put referendums forward. I'm just not sure if the mayor can do it on his own. I can ask him about it. He'll be here Wednesday.
Why not? Because why let it die? I mean, to me, you're letting the chicken guard the hen house. Meaning that here it is, you got a recall vote, and you're asking the people who to affect to say either yay or nay. There's something wrong with that idea. You follow what I'm saying?
I do.
It's like, you're telling your kid, what do you mean you want to have more allowance money? I can't give you more. Yeah, I get to say, Dad, you got to give me more. You know what I mean?
Right. You're letting very irresponsible people make decisions for everybody.
Right, but the mayor's the mayor. I believe in the 4-year term because, as I stated before, you can't get nothing accomplished in 2 years. It's ridiculous because your first year you're just getting established, and it takes you a while to get moving. And then what? Now the second year he's focusing on re-election. That's kind of pointless. But once again, the people talking about stale ideas. Well, I got stale ideas looking at the city council. They've been there, as you know, well over 10 years. It's the same thing they're rehashing over and over again. And we need change. And as far as the recall vote, my recommendation to the mayor is put it out there for the people to vote on. You shouldn't be giving the convicts the keys to the jail, basically.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Nobody's been convicted yet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Well, you understand what I'm saying.
I do, my friend. Thank you for the call, as always. 508-996-0500. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. No one's been convicted yet or even indicted. Because that's happened in Boston, not New Bedford. Well, not so far. Not this council, anyway. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. 996-0500. Talking about a lot of things, really, but the indictment of a Boston city councilor for using a family member to take a bribe, really to steal money from the taxpayers. She also has a lot of campaign finance violations, too. She was under significant financial pressure personally, and that influenced her decisions, they say, allegedly, as a city councilor. And remember, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But she says, I'm staying. There's no provision, much like New Bedford has no provision, to remove a city councilor. So she's staying. She's going to keep collecting the salary, the health insurance, the pension credits, and keep making major decisions for the taxpayers because they can't get rid of her. Her colleagues wanted to go, but there's no mechanism. And surely Tania would have, much like the New Bedford City Council members, killed any recall petition, right? Any ability to kick someone out for being arrested or indicted. So what do the New Bedford City Councilors, as individuals, know about their own behavior? What do we know that makes them so concerned about a recall petition that basically is about the mayor's office? Not this particular mayor, but future mayors. Now, that's because many of the city councilors, they envision themselves to be mayors. Maria Siesta, Sleep at the Switch, Shane Burgo. We know others have run for the job. So what do they know that we don't know about their own personal conduct? Let that sink in, folks. The last city council to be indicted in Boston, Chuck Turner, when they kicked him out,